Analysis and experts interviews, Hard Facts delivers the truth that others dare not to reveal. Tune into Hard Facts every weekday, 3 to 6 p.m. and arm yourself with the knowledge you need to navigate today's complex world. Hard Facts, where the truth always prevails.
99.3 Nigeria Info.
Let's talk.
This is Hard Facts.
99.3 Nigeria Info. This is the nation's #1 talk news and sports radio station. We're broadcasting live from our audiovisual studios right here in Itimian Crescent, Victoria Island, Lagos. Welcome. It's a brand new week and we are excited because, you know, 'tis the season to be jolly. Are you jolly this season, or you're just wondering where the next meal's going to come from? Well, it doesn't matter. Whether it's life, you know what they say, there is hope. My name is Maryann Okon, welcoming you to Hard Facts. Today is also going to be an abridged version. I hope you enjoyed yourself while I was away with Ufoma Igbamono. In the meantime, because it's an abridged version, we're going to make the best of the 1 hour that we have. And today we're going to be revisiting the conversation about the tax reform bill. It's still a conversation that's fresh on our minds. And before I introduce my guest, I would like to remind you about some of the people who've spoken on this reform bill, the different, emotions and the different perspectives, whether it be political, whether it be, business, whether it be, whatever. These persons have spoken on these issues based on facts, based on experience. And let's start with Senator Alindume, who was one of the first people to speak on this. In fact, he did say at some point that this bill was dead on arrival. Here's what he had to say recently. And then, of course, I'll introduce my guest to you.
We pay taxes. So it's not like we are being running away from taxes. We pay taxes. Nigerians, every responsible tax will want to pay tax, but the timing is wrong. That is number one. Okay.
So that's Senator Alindume saying the timing is wrong. Here is Governor Babagana Zulum, who is the governor of Borno State, and what he had to say about it.
To law. This is our one of contention. And then people are saying, oh, Professor Zulum is against the presidency. This is a democratic setting. Unless people want us to, to do a garrison democracy. In democracy, we have the right to say. But what we told them is that let us take time and evaluate the efficacy of the tax systems before we pass it into law. That does not mean anything. On that particular day of FEC, I don't want to mention a name. Somebody said, Nelfon is not doing well. I raised a question, and I said, no, if there's any one federal government organization that is doing very well, it's Nelfon, as of now in Nigeria. Because up to one university of Maiduguri was paid about 1.2 billion naira. I've never seen this one. Just when I'm coming with my driver, I've seen the level of road construction in FCT. And I also saw the aviation industry, development and agriculture. But it is very important for us to say the right thing. And I am not withdrawing my statement. To my own observation, if this tax bill is being passed, the North should be shortchanged, the Southeast should be shortchanged, South should be shortchanged, as well as the Southwest. The only state that will benefit is Lagos.
Where will all the money go to?
Lagos.
All of this?
Most of them will go to Lagos.
But you said the governor of Lagos said...
Yes, that is why I'm saying we need more time. This is a democratic setting. But people have said to the president that no, the governors are against him. No, we have never said something like this. We know the powers of the president. I'm a system man. I respect him. If the president wants to, use his powers to pass this tax bill, he may have his ways. But it has its consequences on the people.
Well, more and more voices have spoken on this issue of tax reform. My guest is joining me via Zoom from the Federal Capital Territory. He's a former member of the National Assembly. He and I had a little tete-a-tete on the weekend ahead of this conversation. Honorable Bernard Mikko is a former member of the National Assembly. He served... I have to get this right, these things, I have to get it right. Anyway, he served as a member representing... Oh, Jesus. Okay, yes, here we are. He is, of course, former member of the House of Representatives from 1990, if I'm not mistaken. And he is joining us via Zoom. Honorable Bernard Mikko, it's so good to have you on the show. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. Can you hear me? Oh, Honorable Mikko, we're having network connection issues with you. We can barely hear you. Can you hear me? Oh, my goodness. It is really bad. Is it possible for you to switch your connection or leave the meeting and join us again, because the connection is not great at all? If you can leave the meeting and rejoin us, that would be great. It is really, really bad. The connection is terrible. And we can barely see you nor hear you. So you'd probably have to join us again. But can you hear me now? Honorable Mikko, I'm so sorry. Your connection is really, really bad. So you have to switch your connection to another network maybe, or leave the meeting and rejoin us. Let's see if that works, okay? All right, while we wait for the Honourable to join us back, I want to take you to the statement credited to the spokesperson for the National Assembly, still on this tax reform initiative of Mr. President. And here's what he had to say.
Does not want more money. If the federal government, under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Ashwaju, it's saying that the federal government share of this revenue derivation should be reduced, are we not supposed to commend such a president for that level of patriotism? A president ordinarily who should be telling Nigerians that I need more money to be able to carry out more projects is now saying, what do we do to ensure that more money gets to other tiers of government to ensure that we further develop the country? And the issue of derivation. Word by word, what did we do as a parliament? We ensured that every member, got a copy of each of the bill, even before that debate. For instance, today we are going to have the second reading of that bill, of those bills today. And we have already engaged experts. We've already had discussions around it. And after today's debate, we're still going into the next stage, which is, public hearing, to equally invite experts, Nigerians, and members of the Nigerian Governors Forum, members of the traditional institution, people who may still have the one about the bill. It's a work in progress.
Honorable Philip Agbese there. He is the spokesperson for the National Assembly. My guest is still trying to correct his connection. He is a former member of the National Assembly, and he is obviously from the Ogoni extract. He represented the the Ogoni people at the House of Representatives, the 4th Assembly from 1999, I beg your pardon, to 2003. Honorable Mikko, I don't know if you can hear me now. Can we try that again? Okay, we probably might have to, admit the other one, and see if we can hear him better. We're having a little connection issue with her. I guess let's hope that we can get him. Honorable Mikko, is it better now? Can you hear us? Oh, I think you're muted. All right, I think we can hear you better now. Honorable, this is way better. Thank you for joining us and welcome to Hard Facts. These things happen all the time. We know the connections can be really crazy.
Thank you.
Yes, Honorable, I don't know if you were listening when I played the audio from Governor Babagana Zulum of Borno State, Senator Aline Dume, a long-time serving senator, and of course, Honorable Philip Agbese, who speaks for the National Assembly. Let's start with the fact that there have been dissenting voices when it comes to this bill. It is obviously what it is called, a reform bill. Let me start by asking, from what you've heard and all the disagreements within the room and the loudest voices or maybe the lowest voices, how well do you think that people understand this bill?
Well, my initial reaction to the comments made by Senator Ndume, and who did you say made comments again?
Governor Zulum, of course, the Nasarawa State Governor also, Sule, also spoke on this issue.
Of National Assembly.
Okay.
The members of the National.
Okay, so it was Philip Agbese and Ndume.
Well, they understand that once a bill is introduced and read for the first time, and the general principles of the bill have been taken, you wait to make contributions at the committee stage. So for them to start talking outside the National Assembly, I think it's just rabble-rousing. They are trying to play to the gallery of some of their constituents, and they have a right to speak. But the main place they should speak to is the clause-by-clause consideration of the bill. So those are sentimental issues they are talking about. They should work on the bill. If they have read the bill, let them point out the clauses that affect them as a people. I think we have to wait for that.
But Honorable, whether we like it or not, the National Economic Council had called for some sort of a hold on the passage of this bill. They had said that there has to be some more consultations being done before this bill is pushed. The Governors Forum also, in fact, the National, the Economic Council's press release, or rather, speaking to the press, or their communique, was read by the governor of Oyo State, if I am not mistaken. And we all know the people who make up the Economic Council. And of course, northern governors and northern leaders also spoke up about this bill. And just as you heard Governor Babagana Zulum here saying that Lagos is going to be the only beneficiary and several other people will be shortchanged, do you think that is still rabble-rousing?
Well, when the National Economic Council, when the bill was presented to them, this bill is an executive bill, which means that it is coming from the executive themselves. And if you notice, it's only one section of the country that is talking about this bill. Well, taxation in Nigeria has been a major issue. If you look at the foundation, how Nigeria started as a country, you will see that it started from a company rule owned by George Goldie. And the company was sold to the British government prior to the Berlin Conference of 1884. Then, after it was bought for 865,000 pounds, the country was divided into three areas or three zones: the Southern Protectorate, the Northern Protectorate, and the Colony of Lagos. The Colony of Lagos was headed by Ralph Moore. Mm-hmm. The Southern Protectorate was headed by Walter Egerton. Then the Northern Protectorate was headed by Frederick Lugard. The funds to administer the North was not sufficient. They didn't have funds. And Lord Lugard, under George Goldie, couldn't rein in the people from the southern Nigeria because agreements, treaties were needed, for them to discuss at the Berlin Conference in 1885. So he couldn't get these agreements done with the natives, but it was easier for Lord Lugard to get it from the North on the condition that they would not touch their language, they won't touch their culture, they won't tax them. And these conditions, they agreed. But coming to the south, it became difficult for people to just sit their property, sit their land, and sit everything to Lord Lugard. So looking from that background up to this day, it has been very difficult, for them to pay taxation, for them to pay tax, any form of tax. And as you know, what defines a citizen of a country is your commitment to that country. You must have been born or you are resident in that country. And of course, you have to pay your citizenship comes with duties and obligations.
Honorable, are you implying that the Northerners are kicking against, or the Northern leaders are kicking against this bill because they do not want to pay taxes? You did hear Senator Alindume saying that they pay their taxes as Nigerians. They pay their taxes.
No,
and how do you? I'm so sorry. There are internal revenue services in these countries. I tell you what. Recently, in the report that was released by Budget, the internally generated revenue in Zamfara State went up. So you're telling me that the North doesn't pay taxes, but then it's being reflected as tax paying?
I don't mean the whole North. I mean some people.
Then the whole North is kicking against this. Does that still imply that they all don't want to pay taxes?
My recommendation, my recommendation for this bill is that if a particular section of the country is not happy, because it has happened before, and it's a recurrent demand in Nigeria, that once the president or the leader of the country comes from one section, people from the other section kicks against any of the major reform bills that are being brought. When Goodluck Jonathan was president of Nigeria, not kicked against most of the policies that he brought. So my recommendation is that if taxation is a major issue, and it's on the exclusive legislative list, number 59. So let it be delisted, through a referendum, from the exclusive legislative list, so that states can do anything they like with their own revenue and maybe pay 13% to the center. I think this will be a major achievement, so that we don't start talking about things that they are not ready. The Petroleum Industry Act, PIB, stayed in the National Assembly for 20 years, and it has been completely watered down. So at what time is best to present this bill? You tell me, if it is not now.
Well, in case you're just joining us, the program is Hard Facts. I'm being joined by Honorable Bernard Mikko, who's a former member of the House of Representatives from Ogoni River State, and he served in the 4th Assembly from 1999 to 2003. When we come back, we'll talk about, the issue of devolving powers from the center and, of course, the issue of restructuring. Stay with us. We'll be right back. We're still talking about the tax reform bill and the dissenting voices around it. Stay with us.
Millions of listeners trust us on Hard Fact, whether it's politics, social issues, controversies, and trending stories.
More talk, news, and sports after this.
Consistent taste for cooking mouth-watering soups, stews, and jollof. Choose wisely. Choose Gold. Terra Gold Seasoning Cube.
One cube. Endless possibilities. Terra Gold.
Hey, now what for this country? Everything does cash, even cash.
KC, I don't find you for shops this morning. Why you did this kind of queue?
Jojo, now cash I want collect since morning.
Cash? Why?
I know one waiting happen for 1672 happen again. Today, I must collect correct naira note for hand.
KC, cash day everywhere for bank, ATM, POS agent, and if you want run and cashlessly, you fit use mobile app, internet banking, ATM, POS, USSD, QR code, and other options them.
Dudu, you sure?
I beg you, make we dey go. Your customers dey shop, they wait for you. See, the cash where you define for Sokoto, is there for your Sokoto. You understand? Country people, money na money. Spend them, collect them, no hold them, no panic. Cash day everywhere. This message now from Bankers Committee.
Ladies and gentlemen, the party you've been waiting for is back. The Life's a Beach Party, the official Dirty December beach party, featuring amazing music performances by Ayo Man, Fola, Fido. And also featuring top Nigerian creators. Come and experience Beach Olympics, fashion competitions, and water sports. Life's a Beach Party will take place December the 14th, 2024. Time is 5 p.m. at the Voda Beach Club in Legoshi, Lekki, Lagos. Hurry and register for free at www.teasersparty.com. Life's a Beach is brought to you by Teaser Sparkling Drink. Life's a Beach. Live it up.
Hey guy, what's the problem?
I haven't been able to sell that property.
Then go and register it free at hermes.ng online property platform and sell it sharp.
Really?
Yes, so hermes.ng is a Nigerian real estate platform where everybody buy and sell properties nowadays.
What's the website again?
www.homers.ng. Hermes.ng online property marketing platform.
Lagos. The final match in the semi-final stage of I Beg to Differ Season 8 comes up on Monday. At 4 p.m., Amuzie David and Ilechukwu Malizu take turns to debate the topic. Should physical beauty impact personal success? This match will usher in the second finalists who will face Olajalo Akinloluwa in the grand finale on Thursday. I Beg to Differ Season 8. 32 debaters, now 3, 1 winner, 1 million naira. Sponsored by Tollywood College. Supported by Obiwizi, Lucas Green Fashion, Veloxi, Card Center Nigeria Limited, and Cordros Group. Season 8 continues in March and August 2025. So send an email to info@nigeriainfo.fm for sponsorship inquiries. That is info@nigeriainfo.fm. I Beg to Differ, a tournament of champions.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back.
We are back.
We're back on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
There's a reason why over 1 million people tune into Hard Facts every day. We discuss in-depth stories with sources behind the facts.
The Lagos State High Court has convicted, suspended the Chicago certificate story. It's never going away, is it? Show with stories for the day.
You hear diverse voices and opinions.
And she was meeting her friend with her husband, knowing that.
You should not be happy because there is nothing to happy about.
Yeah, it's quite pathetic the way the country is going.
We distinguish each story accurately with analysis.
It's Hard Facts with Maryann Okon on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Welcome back. The program is still Hard Facts, 99.3 Nigeria Info, and we are live on facebook.com/Nigeria Info FM. We're also live on YouTube. You can be part of the conversation. If you're listening from outside of the country, you can be part of the conversation via Skype or Nigeria Info FM. You can join the conversation on WhatsApp. It's 08095975805. That's 08095975805. To join the conversation, I'm still being joined by Honorable Mikko, and he is a former member of the National Assembly. We're looking obviously at the many voices against and those that are also for the tax reform bill. Just before we went on that break, the Honourable had been talking to us about tax and coming from North. Let's look at the issue. This is every time out to, in fact, every campaign season, governments would always throw out the issue of, let's restructure Nigeria, let's go back to regionalism, etc. Let's make states begin to look within themselves. That way there's some sort of competitiveness. And I want to ask you that question, but first, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Mikko Zekome, has been in the news, quoted to say that the tax reform bill does make sense, but the timing is very problematic for Nigerians. And this is what he said. He said the tax reform bills, however, make sense, but the timing is problematic given the economic strain faced by Nigerians. He said the federal government needs to be advised to stagger the implementation of the tax reform bill if it gets passed into law, while urging aggrieved parties, which obviously is the northern governors and the northern leaders, and a few other people who are against it, that they approach the reforms with an open mind, particularly the Nigerian tax bill and the Nigerian tax administration bill. So I'd like for you to speak to what Mikko Zekome has said, and then let's go to the issue of, whether we're returning to regionalism or keeping states and their governors on their toes?
Is the senior advocate trying to say that the tax bill should be staggered? This is basically a consumption bill, VAT. It's a consumption tax. So are you going to stagger people's consumption patterns, or what are you going to stagger? You see, for us in River State, we say that you cannot talk of consumption without production. Consumption alone is not a strategic economic stimulus. Consumption is not a strategic economic stimulus. So anybody telling you of consumption should be ready to also talk of production. So at what part are we going to do? Have you seen any bill that has been staggered? If there are clauses in the bill that needs to be worked on, they should work on the bill rather than to say that they should stagger it. You see, these issues are the issues. Nigeria have wanted change for a very long time. Since 1933, no major bill on taxation has been introduced. And we are very happy that this bill has been introduced, even if River State is going to lose revenue from almost 81% to about 14-15%.
Bringing Rivers into that conversation now, I'm very interested, because there's that case that people are making that, if we're going to talk about that derivation clause, why is it that the federal government is sharing the monies that is basically accrued from the production of crude, when the states themselves should be getting more? I mean, if this guy, Governor Babagana Zulum, is saying Lagos is going to benefit more in terms of consumption, and you are making reference to production, is River State, is Bayelsa, is Delta, is Akwa Ibom, Cross River, are these states going to be benefiting from the derivation aspect of it? Because for long, Nigerians have complained about the fact that the South, or the South has been feeding the whole country, and they're not even getting any benefits whatsoever. Is it, if we do return to that idea of regionalism, do we see the South benefiting more? Again, for the Southeast, where there is some sort of, coal mining, and then there's certain states like Anambra and a few who also have a little bit of oil. How will the derivation aspect of it work? Don't forget, this bill is divided into two. There's also the tax administration part of it, which I think is what's under the skin of most of the people in the northern parts of this country. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes. I think the most interesting part for us is the tax administration bill. And I have quoted to you that the upstream operations has resolved all the problems in the upstream sector of petroleum in Nigeria. And we are very happy with that. Our concern is with the VAT, applying 60% for consumption and also being silent on production. So if you're applying derivation for consumption at 60%, why don't you apply the same 60% derivation on consumption, on all the items? The North is very rich in solid minerals, while the South is also rich in petroleum and wet petroleum products like crude oil. So if they harness the gold in the North and also harness the crude oil in the South, I think the country will be better off. Zamfara State, and of course, you've also heard about oil prospection in Bauchi Trough. You've seen them produce oil even in the North. So why are we afraid to apply the same system or the same model for which you want, to apply it on other commodities for which value is added? That is my only concern about the bill. And I want certain clauses, particularly if you go to section 22, subsection 12 of the tax administration bill. It talks of, for the purpose of attribution under this section, that the derivation should be taxable on supplies by location. So my argument is that instead of them to say they should compute this thing based on
production.
The production should be computed. Yes, they are now using language like attribution instead of computation, and using another language supplies location instead of production. So what are we? You see, in the bill, if you look at the section 18, it talks exactly of production by location and also computation. But when it came down to section 22, it became a different thing, using the languages that ambiguous language that is subject to litigation. So my point is that let them apply this derivation principle. It will make people sit up. Because why the North is backward is because of free flow of finance. Common people are not working. And you know that in the country, what makes you a citizen of the country is your ability, your responsibility. Citizenship comes with a duty. It starts with tax obligation. In the 1922 Constitution, you cannot vote in Lagos. You cannot also vote in Calabar if you don't meet up the criterion for as a citizen. They have what they call adult property suffrage. You must have a residence where you are voting. You also must have paid tax. If you don't do this, you cannot vote or be voted for. So people who don't pay taxes cannot describe themselves as having any commitment to a nation.
Interesting. These are very hefty allegations when you keep saying that people who don't pay tax. I don't also want to presume that everybody in the North doesn't pay taxes. But let's quickly, before I bring Lagos into the conversation. I know.
I'm not saying that.
Yes. But then there's that insinuation out there that, the Northerners are running away from paying taxes, and that's why they're against this, bill. And of course, most of them have been asked that question. And like I said, Senator Alindume said succinctly that he pays taxes, and so does every other well-meaning Nigerian. But let's move away quickly to the politics of it. A former spokesperson for Atiku Abubakar's campaign, Shegu Shomi, has spoken about the fact that as much as this bill might not be bad, which is obviously for those who have read into it, might be to the benefit of the average Nigerian as opposed to the elite. The presidency has not made it easy for people from across the divide to appreciate what he's doing, being that almost everyone with a juicy office is from the Southwest. And if a Northerner is not sitting in those positions or being carried along, there is room for suspicion. Do you think the presidency has done well in terms of, the nominations and the appointments, and of course, making or garnering the support of everyone, whether it be Southeast, whether it be South, whether it be the Northwest or the Northeast? How well has he done in making sure that we feel like we are all part of this business, as opposed to the sectionalism that's been, thrown around from campaign season?
You know that the biggest issue in Nigeria today is religion when it comes to North and South. And when you have number 2 citizen of a country coming from the North, and also you have the president and the vice president belonging to one religion, what else do you want again? And of course, with 36 state governors, you have 19 governors from the North. You have how many from the South? So if you look at that, you see, we are infiltrating units. The federation is a virtual state. If you take away all the states, the federation does not exist. So if they have any apprehension about this taxation, I think the best thing, like I propose, let the president withdraw the bill, and we vote on referendum whether the item 59, which is taxation, should remain on the exclusive legislative list to be adjudicated by the states and by the federal government, or it should be residual to the states, so that the states can wait.
But there are those who say that the moment that this bill is withdrawn, it's dead, and that might also be a plan.
No, of course, there must be arrangement to present the bill. We're in a representative democracy. If the representatives of the National Assembly are not willing or shy because of their constituents are against them, let the bill be presented to the Nigerian people through a referendum. We can vote on it, and we decide.
Honorable, as much as I appreciate the hope and the certainty in your voice. When was the last time we were even called upon to speak or vote on anything in this country, especially when it has to do with things like this? Do you think that the referendum will work under this administration?
Look, referendum, all registered voters in Nigeria will cast their vote either for or against. They are not going to vote for the bill as it is. They are going to vote whether we should have taxation on our exclusive legislative list.
Is there a possibility that they will is there a possibility that will be an option?
Yes, because in certain parts of the country they are against taxation as it is. Then they should be allowed. You know, we wanted derivation for petroleum products in our constitution, in our management of affairs, so that every state will develop at its own stage. It has happened before in the First Republic and even the Second Republic. So why is it that we are not able to do so now? The regions should fall back on the natural resources that are available to them, so that they can harness them and pay a percentage. You know, we started with 3%, then graduated to 13%. So now, why don't we say, okay, let us reverse the trend. Let states harness resources in their area and pay 13% to the center for management of the economy, like foreign affairs and external defense.
Interesting.
Why is it difficult?
Okay. Well, I want to bring Lagos into this conversation. Lagos, I've got 10 minutes on the clock. Join the conversation. 0201 277 0993. That's 0201 2770993. That's the number for you to call. If you are a lady, call 0201 465 7190. We're talking about the tax reform bill. This conversation is never ending. And of course, most importantly, how informed are you on that piece of document? Have you read it line by line? Do you understand it? And do you agree with my fine honorable here in the studio and the position that he's taken? Join the conversation. Hello, welcome to Hard Facts. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good afternoon. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good afternoon. This is Pastor Ladipo.
Go ahead.
Okay. Maryann, my take on this issue is this. If they actually have anything in that bill, I'm speaking for both sides now. If they have anything in that bill, I think they should slow down and enlighten people the more, so that a lot of people, especially these ones from the northern aspect, that are arguing. So when they make it in a simple and plain language where everybody can understand it, then they can go ahead with it. For me, I don't see the need for the rush. Let them take their time to explain. At least people will get hold of it, and then they can now go forward with it.
Okay.
Thank you. This is Pastor Ladipo.
Thank you very much for calling. I do appreciate it. Hello, welcome to Hard Facts.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Our Maryann Godwin from Lakwa is my name.
Go ahead, Godwin.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Yes, with this issue of tax, we wake up in the morning under this administration, you hear about tax. In the afternoon, when you take your lunch, you hear about tax. In giving the same thing, what have the government done to the citizens? Today, borehole, we do it for ourselves. Road, we consult ourselves. Security, we provide ourselves. Hospital, we use our money, hard money to get our family taken care of. Which one does the government give to his own citizens for the benefit of governance? Tax. Is this the essence of governance? This APC government under this president.
Thank you, Godwin.
Is the tax the only good thing?
All right. Thank you, Godwin, for calling. Your 60 seconds is over. Uzoma is calling us from Lagos. Go ahead, Uzoma.
Yes. Thank you, Maryann.
Good afternoon.
Maryann, they are talking of tax. Do they ask this dispensation of Tinubu, what is he doing for Nigerians? What work did he provide for the citizens of this country?
It is not the job. Okay, let me educate you a little bit, Uzo. It is not the job of government to provide jobs. Their job is to create enabling environment. Government cannot provide jobs for all Nigerians, just so you know.
Mary Ann, I'm coming. You pack a particular tribe in your own dispensation to be now bringing law for whole Nigerians. Is it done anywhere? Now, your guest is saying something that is very reasonable. Let each state bring out what they are producing in their own state and pay tax to government. And not every month they all rush to Abuja to go and collect. And they are borrowing.
Okay.
And you are taxing citizens.
It's
not done. Let every tribe be represented in this dispensation.
All right, Uzoma, thank you very much for calling. Because of time, that's why I'm letting you go. Hello, welcome to Hard Facts. Turn off your radio, please.
Hello, good afternoon, Miriam.
Good afternoon. What's your name, sir? Where are you calling from?
I am Ezedum. I am calling from Surulere.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. I support the tax bills. The only part I am against is you cannot call it a tax for the poor bill. Anybody that earns money must pay tax if for a nation to survive. If the money the person earns is little, you will bring down the tax the person will pay to be very, very little. If a company earns 500 million naira in a year, the company must be proud to pay at least 1 million naira or 500,000 naira or even 100,000 naira per year as tax.
Okay.
If a citizen earns 800,000 naira, you can pay 500 naira or even 1,000
All right,
naira.
5 seconds. We need to go.
So withdraw the bill and amend it. Let everybody pay tax.
All right. Thank you very much, Izedum, for calling. Hello, welcome to Hard Facts.
Hi, Maryann.
Yes.
Well done. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Mrs. Oboli, go ahead, please.
This back and forth, I don't even tire. The only thing I'll just say is, eventually, if this tax reform issue is being resolved and they tax people duly, what will the monies gotten? Will it benefit the poor man? Whatever it is, if you are capturing the rich, capture them. If you are capturing the poor, capture them. And make sure these taxes, you use it effectively for the use of the common man. This back and forth is killing me. Even the people that are even supposed to pass the bill or reform the bill or turn the bill around are even making it more difficult and intricate for us to comprehend. Okay. This back and forth just stop. And whatever it is you want to do it. That's what you are about to do. And make sure it is for the benefit of both the poor and the rich. Period. Thank you very much.
All right, but how do they make sure if it is not in their interest? And this is a question I have for you, Honorable Mikko. There are many people who sit on the floor of the National Assembly saying that they represent us, but they're not representing us. Half the time, they're not reachable. Even what they propose or support on the floor of the National Assembly, we sit at home and look at ourselves and say, when did we ask him to do that? That's not what we need. So again, who's to say that whatever the members of the National Assembly agree on is going to be to the benefit of the average Nigerian?
Well, you see, that is why I said that we are in a representative democracy. If we are not comfortable about the actions of our members of National Assembly, we subject those items to a referendum, particularly on this taxation. But I think people seem to have a wrong conception about tax or taxation. Taxation is a non-penal contribution, to the center, to the running of government, which means that it is compulsory, it's mandatory for you as citizen to pay tax. And in this tax bill, they are not saying that people should pay additional tax. In fact, if you earn less than 800,000 naira a year, you are exempted. It has removed a lot of people from paying tax. You see, the thing that it's captured more people, and for states to administer what they, to administer their own resources, which means that one state cannot pay more, while the other states that are not collecting pay less. Let me if you don't drink beer, and people who drink beer, you take them to the gallows that they drink beer, then you begin to expect VAT. VAT on such items. We should look inwards. We should do these things step by step based on our culture and our understanding of what is happening, than to begin to criticize the people. Most of them I was in National Assembly now. Most of them don't read a piece of legislation because it's always voluminous. So they don't read. They just listen to what their people say, that this tax is going to do this, is going to do that. I think let us implement this tax policy. If they have any concern, they should point out the causes for which they want us to debate, and we debate it.
Honorable,
of them have been able to do so.
Honorable, you just said something, and I want to drag you back to it. I have just 1 minute. You just said that most of our representatives don't even read these legislative documents because they're voluminous. These are the same people that you expect would push for a referendum so that we, the people that, put them there, would get some sort of say in it. If these people don't know and don't care about what's in the document, who's to say they'll be open to pushing for a referendum? To start with, 1 minute, sir. You have 1 minute.
Referendum is prerogative of the president. It has nothing to do with National Assembly. Every voter, like in general election, will vote on the item. They just make it one item after the other. Do you want states or the future? Do you want the tax policy or taxation to be on exclusive list or not? When they say no, then they delete it from the exclusive list and defy it to the states. That's all.
Lovely. Well, all of that remains to be seen, but I want to say thank you, Honorable Mikko. Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have to have this conversation, but I really hope that you can come back. Honorable Mikko is a former member of the House of Representatives representing Ogoni in Rivers State. Honorable, thank you so much. Let's see how this case continues to unfold. There's more conversation, of course, hanging around in the air, and we'll surely bring you back to have more of it. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We appreciate you, sir.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. Well, Lagos, we're going to go on a quick break. When we come back, I beg to differ. Season 8 semi-finals is today. Amuzie David is going head-to-head with Ikechukwu Malizu. It's a debate that you do not want to miss. But stay with us. We'll be right back after these messages.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.